Hey everyone, welcome back to the stream. Let me set my camera and hope you can hear me. And let's share my screen. Okay, so we are back. Today, we will continue with the API integration, right? So, last stream or yesterday's stream, we saw like how to create an API, what are the different methods which are available when you make an API call. And we did that. So, if I go back, so let's go and inspect. I'll just increase. I'll try to zoom in. Sorry. And for our page as well, I think 125 is perfect. And here. So what we did yesterday was we made an API call. We saw some data in console, which actually does not match the real data. You know, we discussed about like how they are different. And so let's go back to our code base. And for now, what I'm doing is I'm just running my front end, and that's why we have an error here. So if you see HTTP error, so it says, okay, uh, API hotels, it's giving me 500 because it says there is an internal server error. Of course, makes sense because, I have to serve this API too. So let's do that. Build succeeded. Localhost 3333. Everything is fine. Let's refresh and I should see at least some data in the console. Yeah, the data is back and we know like, okay, our API works. And we can also verify this in our network call. So let's go ahead and see here. If you see the console, list 4200/API/hotels. And this is interesting because our API is actually running on localhost 3333. We spoke about something called proxy config, which exists. And but like my proxy config is redirecting the call or treating that call as a local host, right? I mean, it's treating that, okay, it's coming from the same domain. It's not different. So um, we are seeing this call here. And we can see the preview and we see the data, we see the response, and everything is fine. Initiator. We'll maybe talk about all this data later on. Now let's go back and we can do more stuff. We can actually see our code base and we can also talk about the PR. So let's see if we have merged the PR, not the talks one. I think let's go back to repositories. In case you haven't cloned this repository, you can just see it here. It's livestream code rabbit. This is the code base we are referring to for all this for the entire live stream we are doing. This is a monorepo, so even in case like we decide to do something else, we can actually just use the same monorepo and we don't have to create a new project for any new or further live streams which we do. So add API integration, this is the PR which I created yesterday, and let's see. So there's nothing, just an API call, but let's do the usual. First, we will see what code rabbit commented, and then we'll go ahead and try to proceed with the next changes. So let's see. So it says, okay, remove unused hotels field data fetching duplication. Okay, this is interesting. What's happening here? So it says, okay, hotel list already provides hotel data via property service.get hotels, and which is actively used in the template. The hotels field fetches the same data via HTTP client, but it's never used. Okay, so it's right? I mean, at least Kotab is telling me you're making two calls for doing the same stuff. And if you're thinking, oh, why this comment is there, because this is very common scenario where we are probably by mistake we are making duplicate API calls. I've seen this firsthand because at some point of time your component becomes too big. You join the team, you think, oh, I'll just make my own API call. Why should I worry about reading 3,000 or 1,000 line of code and try to understand where this data is coming from? So you make your own API call, and then there is another code which will be managed by someone who joins later. So glad, I mean, it can be captured. And there is another error or another comment. It says hotel stores a subscription. This is very important in Angular world, right? And it says it is actually saving the subscription. This is when I started learning about subjects or subscriptions. This was very common issue, or maybe the code which I used to write, and then I used to wonder why I don't have the data. So what do you think? Like, if I try to print the hotels, will I get anything? The answer is no. I will not get anything, even though I try to render it. And we can try that out. So let's go back to our VS Code and uh, .ts, and this is the hotels data, right? So I'll just go back to my template and I will put it this before dashboard, and I'll put HTML hotels JSON, and it's giving me an error. It says, okay, JSON is not found. I can just do, okay. Yeah, to fix this, yeah, I mean, this should be done via, okay, this is interesting. Why? Okay. I don't know why Copilot is trying to fix it, but this should be done by the Angular language service. But somehow it's okay. I can just go ahead and add it. And I'll just zoom in a little bit here and see if there is anyone in chat. Okay, no. Let's see if I can add channels and remove channels. I forgot to stream on LinkedIn for some reason. Okay, anyways, but you see here it's actually hotels and by JSON, and now we can just go back and see what it looks like on the UI. So I'll go back to, mhm. And here it says, okay, it's actually there is no data. If you see, there is some object which says close true, parentage null, finalizer null, is stop true, destination null. I mean, what kind of data is this? Because, eventually, if you're writing this code for the first time, you will expect it to give you the data, not this thing, right? And that's very common in case you try to work with subscriptions, which was very common in RxJS. Glad you might not need to do this, because we are moving to something known as subjects, which is much easier to handle, and you might not need this. But how to read this data? The thing is, like, even though it does, I mean, you might not need to do this in future. Let's see. I'm back. Okay, sorry for trouble, everyone. I think I'm back now, and I don't know what went wrong, but there was some issue. I was disconnected, so hope you can see the screen now, and I'm live again. Okay, sorry for trouble, everyone. Good. So I was talking about this subscription, right? So I'm in case you are getting a code base which is actually written maybe long ago, right? uh, and which has been updated for uh, from, let's say, Angular 6, 7, and maybe onwards, because Angular releases a new major version every 6 months. So when I started learning Angular, it was Angular 4. Now we have I have we the version we have right now, which is the stable version, is Angular 21. So of course, there are chances that you may get a legacy code base, which is just being updated from the old version. And one thing which I really like about Angular is, of course, I have spoken about it a lot, is ability to upgrade to a new version, and which is really nice, right? So even in case you have a maybe code base with Angular 6 or 7, you can still upgrade to the latest version, and you can do a lot of migration automatically to adopt to the new code base. So coming back to the subscribe method, right? So how you can work with this subscribe method and what it does. When we were talking about signals, there's one thing which we mentioned about signals. We said, oh, signals are lazy. Signals give you data when you want, when you actually try to read that data. Otherwise, you will get nothing, which actually helps you because you don't want any active maybe API call, or maybe any active fetch, even though you don't need that data, and you may want to get that data when you need it, like on demand, right? When user interacts with something or clicks on button, or maybe let's say, for example, click on shopping cart buy button, and that's where you want to take some actions or maybe interact with your APIs. Even this is a get call. We are actually, if I remove this subscribe, let's see what happens. So let's remove subscribe. Let's format this page, and let's go back to our web page, which looks really nice. Yeah, there is no CSS, looks like an old web page from early 2000s. And now let's go back and see the network. And we don't have any hotels call now. I mean, I can search for it. Chances are that it may exist. You know why it exists? Because I have something enabled called preserve log, but I can just remove it and reload just to see like if you're making an API call now. So if you see that's it says there is no like, oh, there was an hotel call earlier, but I don't see it now. And you see the sources, it had some data. I mean, even though we were not sure what that data was, but still there was some data. And now the subscription is actually, there is nothing inside this whatever variable or whatever subscription is, this is right. So let's go and check something. So let's see uh, here, right? So we are saying, okay, this is what we are making. This is the API call we are making, and let's see the data. So it says now, if you remember earlier, it said it is type of subscription. Now it says it's not type of subscription. It says it's an observable of object. Okay, now we were just talking about subscription, and now suddenly we have something called as observable. Okay, so let's go ahead and see like how to read this data. And in Angular, you can actually read this data by passing something known as a sync. So it's called a sync pipe. And to use this, I have to do what we did for JSON pipe. So I can go back, I can add here a sync pipe. Okay, let's save this first. And now it's the error is gone. Now I can save this and let's go back. And now it says, okay, again. So now earlier we said, okay, it was some observable of some object. And now we are getting object. What is this? What is happening? And it is now making an API call. If you didn't notice that, it's making an API call. So what happened here? So when you use this async with something which is observable, so like this. So what we have here is we have an HTTP client, and it gives me observable of some data, observable of object. It means there is some data in which exists, which is available actually when you make an API call. And here, as soon as you do pipe async, which what we did here, it will unwrap that observable. So it will. So when I talk about observable, okay, important topic, right? What is observable? We didn't talk about it. So it's a stream of data. You know streams. I think everyone knows streams. Uh, you do a lot of live streaming, right? I mean, you do or you watch streaming or you use streaming platforms, for example, Netflix, or maybe you use YouTube, maybe you use any other streaming platform like Disney Plus. What they do, they stream data, right? And observable is something which is actually getting the data or as a stream, not a single object, but as a stream. And this is why sometimes in Angular, you never needed this, like why everything needs to be streamed. Believe me, it's very powerful. And because I've been writing Angular for so long and have seen both sides, right? Where it's very useful and where it might not be. Like so, there are of course advantages and disadvantages both, and that's why Signals is like now preferred choice, which can handle a lot of things. You can maybe just use anything to stream your data. Signals can handle it, and probably in future you will see this code less or very less. Still, I mean, if you're adopting legacy code base, yes, it may exist. So, okay, so now we have this observable, which is nothing but stream of data. We are getting that stream of data on our website. And we said, okay, what we did is we said hotels of a sync. And, I can use this data. Now I can read this data actually. So let's go back and do something. So I can say, okay, this is div, you know, and hotel management. And this is the hotels data which we need, which we have. And no, I don't need the old syntax. So maybe I can just remove this and say star at the rate, sorry, at the rate diff. And yeah, this is fine. And need to close this. So close. And for some reason, it just keep giving me why this is incomplete block. If you want, uh, use the HTML entity instead. What is okay? So it says property length does not exist on type object. Yes, it is not. It is not wrong. It is right because right now the hotels type is actually object. We haven't defined like what is the signature or how my data looks like. So what we can do is, of course, you can go back and maybe interface which looks similar to what we have. Hey, Okay, I also see Ritvi. Hey Ritvi, hope you can hear me. I was not talking to myself for 30 minutes.
We both clicked it on the same time.
Yeah, for some reason, Steam stopped. Or it was frozen for a few seconds. I think not few seconds, maybe minutes. But okay, so we are actually just talking about like how you make an API call, and I'm going through subscriptions which we saw last in our last thing, and maybe we can once we go forward, maybe we can see like how we do it now. I mean, this is something which we used to do earlier when there were not new APIs are available with signals were available. So this is like old approach which we used to do. So you know the hotels API call which we made. So we are just trying to unwrap the value and read it. That's what we're doing now. So this is our data. Like so, we saw this the signature of our uh, data which is coming from the API, and we have to create an interface now which probably looks similar to what we have, right? And then I can say, okay, give me let's go back main.ts and let's see if there was an interface here. Yes, it does. So I can just copy this and ask Copilot to create me an interface with this data, right? So open chat based on this data, generate an interface. Okay, so meanwhile it is generating our interface. So what we will do is we will say, okay, hey, uh, Angular, what you need to do is whenever you are getting the data, just transfer it like this. So why it was in ask mode. So I can just copy for now. I can just hotel API. I'll just change the name because we already have something known as hotel and there are just too many properties. Sorry, there will be too many classes or interfaces named hotel. So I'll just change it for now. Hotel API response, and then I can change this the get API call, and we'll just okay, where is this? Mhm. Close. Yeah. So here I'll go ahead and say, hey Angular, just do one thing, uh, go back and convert the data, which we are saying is type of object to this, which will be like hotel API response. And if you see this, it says hotel API response is something like this. I don't know why. Because we gave the data. Oh, we gave the data. Right? Okay. So now let's see the type of data we have. So it says hotel is rather than observable of object, which we saw earlier, it says observable of hotel API response. And as we said, what is this? It's a stream of data. So so we were discussing about streaming, what we mean by stream. So
Okay.
uh, so this is how we get a stream of data right now. It's like not so generally when you deal with get or put get or post call, you just get like the data which is available, right? So it's like a one-time thing. But Angular allows you to get streams, which was sometime overkill, sometime very useful, especially in case of state management. So now we have our correct response. It says, okay, this is observable of this, but this is wrong
Okay.
because this is not how our data looks like. Let's go back and main.ts because our data looks like this. It says there is a data property and there is a success property. Now your data property contains the hotel list, which is this, and your success is like a boolean value. So if I have to go one level up, right, and I have to say, um, so I'll just say, okay, this is interface, API response. For now, I just create this. I mean, yep, let me write some code basically. And success, I'll just remove error for now. So this is the signature, right? So this is how my data looks like. If I go ahead and see the browser or the network call, and I can change this. And do I need an array now? Right? No, it's not an array anymore. So okay, so we have hotels, which is the signature looks like this, where we have a data, which is hotel API response array or can be null, and then we have a success, which is true or false. Now let's go back, and then here, what I can do is I can say hotel async dot data dot length oops, is greater than 0. Then I need this data. What's happening here? So something wrong. Object is possibly undefined. Okay, so what? So what's happening here? Hotels. Object is possibly undefined. Okay, this might be possibly undefined. Yeah, that's fine, right? And then we are saying dot data dot length. What am I missing?
I'll just be back, y'all.
Hey, look at yeah. Okay, what? Just oh, I can also use maybe let hotels, right? And I can hotels is equals to okay, there is one question. What is this? So please, where you can you recommend for me to get some my first certificate so that I can back up what I know as a full stack developer? Oh, interesting. Uh, I mean, there are so many certifications which are available. I think Google has a lot of certification. Uh, Free Code Camp has some certification in case you're interested, and they are free. Yeah, Abhishek. Uh, because most of the certification which exists from Google, Microsoft, or maybe GitHub as well as AWS, they are mostly paid, so you have to pay some money. But in case that's why free code camp exists, right? So people like who pass who cannot afford them, let's go ahead and do that. Is it like okay? So I'll just change this to another naming pattern we follow. So I'll just say hotels array, and let's see hotels sync. What is that? Sync. Okay, so it says it can be null hotels. Okay, and if hotels and hotels dot length. Why it's actually complaining about this? Oh, because hotels dot length is not something which exists because this is the data. Okay, can I use free code camp for a real job interview and get accepted? Why not? Because at the end, like I'm sure, like experience matters more than uh, certification. So there are so many developers who have actually learned from free code camp, and they're doing pretty good. So now we have a data. So I'll just go ahead and print like what we have. So I'll say, okay, this is hotels dot data, and I will just do uh, data, and I'll just do pipe JSON. So we are trying to unwrap the async data, or maybe the stream which we were talking about, and let's see how it looks like. So this is the data. This is the API data which we have. So if I go back hotels, this is like 7 or 8 records, and then they are available here. So we got our data. So what we have done so far is we discussed about like how streaming works, like how you can do dot subscribe and get the data on your front end. And now we just need to display it in a beautiful format. So this is where I actually just go ahead and give this to maybe a Copilot and say, okay, create a beautiful data or maybe a card component based on this because my CSS skills are really nice and I don't know, I don't trust it. So let's go ahead and see. So what I can do is pay and we create a card component because this is look, you don't need to actually move it to production, right? You can just create maybe a POC kind of thing, or maybe the final design is something which you get from your designers, and then you might have to change. But yeah, quick prototypes, just go ahead and use AI. Who is stopping you? Or maybe your portfolio. Just go ahead and use AI. Create a hotel uh, card component based on our data. So, so when I say this, of course, AI is smart because I had already selected line number 4, so it knows which data I'm talking about, and it
Got
can
it.
just take it. I also like this feature because whenever I'm getting some errors on a particular line, I can just select it and the AI just takes our GitHub Copilot takes it as in the context, and I don't have to give more information like what I'm trying to do. Okay, cool.
That's
So it's
actually a pretty great feature because as you've seen, I'm very paranoid about what AI is trying to read anyway.
yeah. So one thing. So you remember that we was yesterday while ending the stream, I said I'll come back to this topic. So that topic was actually how I broke the monorepo.
Oh, fun!
Yeah. So it was like I was new. So I joined Celonis. This is where I used to work. In case you're wondering, like what Celonis is. So it's the last organization where I used to work, and my job was actually just to um okay, I shouldn't say just because it was not just. So my job was actually to take care of monorepo, like make sure like it's manageable, and we like onboard everyone on everyone doing front end inside Ceylon is on our monorepo. And I think it was my fourth month because for 3 months I was traveling. I was like doing conferences, and after 3 months I realized I have to work. So, uh, so I started working, and then I was like, okay, let's do this. So I was doing, when I was telling Ritvi, okay, you don't have to worry, you cannot break monorepo.
And then I asked you to challenge me. Yes.
Then I realized, oh my God, I've done that. So what I did was I was migrating a project, and so it was a design system, and not design system. It was actually shared library, which was available like inside another monorepo, and it was like huge code base, so many useless code which was there. And then we used to use it traditionally, like publish it on npm, then take it from npm and then go ahead and use it. So it was a lot of work, and then I said, okay, why we are doing this, we shouldn't be. And then I started migrating it, and I trusted the ci pipeline, so I said, oh yeah, everything is green. And as soon as I merged it, I started getting complaints. Oh, things are breaking. This is not working. This is not working. And I was like, what? And then I realized, okay, I broke the production. At least it was not production, but it was like, of course, my our monorepo was broken. So we just rolled it back.
Fun. How did you break it though? Like, what did change? Did you actually cascade it into breaking it?
It was shared. It was a shared library, right? So there were, I couldn't identify like what went wrong. And then I was
Oh,
like, okay, let's. That's why I decided like first step is let's roll it back. So I decided to roll it back, and then went ahead, and I think then I was able to fix it like on the second attempt. But it was like not working at all. I was like, what is this? And because it should have been easy migration, but somehow it wasn't.
There's nothing called easy migration, is what I've been told, Santosh.
Learn that hardly. Okay, good. So we have a hotel card component now. Let's see how it's created. I mean, I'm just wondering like how bad the code can be. Oh, it's actually not that bad. See, it says it actually used hotel input dot required, whatever we learned so far, right? So it actually using signals, and
Very cool.
then oh, this is nice. Maybe we can just go ahead and use this component now. And HM hotel card, and here. Okay, so this is safe. Now, hotel card will work for, yeah, this is what I need. So it should work for each single component. And it says HM hotel card is not a known element, of course, because I have to register it. So I will say import this, and let's see. So there is something here which says to allow property, to allow any property. Okay, now, okay, why should I allow any property? Because it is hotel, right? Maybe, let's see. Okay, is not a known element. Of course, I fixed it right now,
Is it cached? Is that why it's not still? There we go.
but still nothing is being rendered, right? So, because uh, there is a file which is not saved. Which one?
I think it's the one with the dot, yeah.
Yeah. So now it should reload. Oh, cool.
Yay! Oh,
Cool.
pretty.
Yeah. So yeah,
Very
there
cool.
is an yeah, there is an I think there is a small animation as well when you hover.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah, AI is not doing bad, even though it looks bad.
Yeah,
Of course,
pretty bad. But overall, pretty great considering the time and effort put in.
exactly. Uh, I want to know if Annex will play a good role and make my work easy. Annex is nice. I mean, uh, a lot of enterprises are actually going for monorepo, and then Annex is a good solution for everyone who's out there. And I chose Angular, and yes, you are at the right place. And Angular is amazing. Like I might have said 800 times on this stream, but it's great. I mean, you made a right choice. Just like be consistent. I think that's the only thing which you need to do. And now we have a hotel list, and maybe Ritvik, we can also change our hotel component and just use this one, right? Because
Yeah.
the old one was just like a dummy. There was nothing inside this. If you see, there was nothing inside this, and I can replace this. So what we can do is just close this again and see like inside our dashboard. So what we had done was we were loading multiple components. So in
So
case of hotel, yeah.
I have a question for you, right, Santosh? I see that our older file is app.html, right?
Mhm.
And our current one that is actually loading data is app.ts, correct?
Uh, so the new one, yeah. Because we
Right.
said like for now we can keep it here, and that's the next step we are going to do. Move it inside dashboard.
Dashboard is fine, but my question is, would our HTML component eventually would have become a TypeScript component, or would we always render an HTML component?
Script. Okay, so remember, so in Angular you can actually write your template inside an external file, which is your template URL. So
Ah, got it. So we specified that there. That makes sense. Yes.
they're connected. So it's like it kind of follows MVC pattern from older days.
Got it.
Model
Control.
view controller. Yeah.
Very cool. Makes sense. Got it.
Okay. So now what we can do is now we added this just to test few things, right? I mean, this hotels and the API call which we made here. Now we can actually move it at the right place, which should be dashboard, and it shouldn't be here. So we can do a little bit of refactoring. First thing which we will do is we will move this interface. I'll just copy, and I think there was an interface, this one, hotel interface. I can replace and use this. Remember, in case I want to export, I will do this, and I'll make small change. Mm, simple. So this is, maybe I can just call this as hotel uh, interface or hotel data, just to keep it simple. And then this might be our hotel API response, and this can be hotel data again. So now because we don't have two duplicates now, right? So we can use this. So this is my interface, and I'm doing refactoring. So of course I'm expecting everything to break. So if you see there are errors, it says, okay, I'm not able to find hotel interface. Yeah, that's absolutely fine because it does not exist anymore. And let's go back to our TS, and I will remove this and grab this one. Oops. And we will move this to our dashboard because this is where we need this data. So I'll just save, and more errors, dashboard.ts, and we will use it here. Let's inject those services, and this is something which is coming from API response, is actually coming from our hotel interface, and which is now hotel API response, right? So now if not API response, and we added this import as well. So I'm just using the auto import feature if you're not aware. So uh, VS Code, also Angular language service, allows you to do this, and I think VS Code as well. So I can just select, and what is missing, I can just add it. Okay, so far so good. Like everything seems nice, everything works, and if I go back or just see the console, like what's breaking, what's still breaking. So we have, okay, this is hotel interface, which is breaking, which has nothing like this. So let's see. What we have here is hotel interface, hotel card component, and this uh, can be, what is this hotel? Oh, this is our hotel data, right? So we can use hotel interface. I can say, okay, this is hotel data, right? So this is hotel data. Now, same here. So one error less. And now it's complaining inside app.html, which we can also replace. I can just copy this data and save this. So there is at least no errors. Yeah. Let's go back to HTML, and
So
I
the
can go to
warnings, the how when do you actually ignore a warning and when do you consider the warning?
um, when, okay. I mean, what if it's warning? I mean, I don't care about it until unless I get an error. Just kidding, but yeah, I know. So these are valid warnings. So it is actually telling me that, okay, the imports which you have is not used. So it's up to you. I mean, it's not like it's going to cause an error in production. It is just telling you this is like unwanted code which probably you don't need. Yes, Anil, thanks for joining. So yeah, if I want to keep the code clean, I will absolutely remove this.
Got it. So we will eventually address all of that, correct?
Yeah, we will, because we are refactoring, right? So we are in between right now. So if you see, nothing will work. So our hotel list is gone actually.
Okay, got it.
So now we have hotel dashboard. I can remove this, and I'll say, okay, this is just use hotel card, which I can import. Save this file because this is important where we added hotel card. We can remove hotel. This was the older one, right? This is the older hotel component which we had. Okay, so uh, now it's complaining about a sync pipe. It's an error, so I have to care about it. So I can just say, okay, just add the sync pipe and see if it's breaking. So far, so good. There is no breaking changes. There is nothing which is causing application to break, but the application works fine.
I'm gonna have to be back, Santosh. Sorry,
Yeah,
folks. I'm coordinating for an event tomorrow, and I continuously get I'm getting calls from our vendors, so I'll be back.
Yeah, sure. So now we have, we just removed our dummy hotel component with actually a card component, which looks not bad. I mean, which is, we can of course ask AI to make it better. And I can show you one more thing, which I generally do. So you can also do this. So for example, this looks very bad, right? I can do, I can take a screenshot, go back, and I can drag this image. So this is the image which we created, and I can say, okay, this view looks really bad. Beautify, including buttons, and make it responsive. And yeah, this is also work. So the in case I'm actually working on my side projects, and as I said, like my CSS skills are not that good. Uh, I can still fix a bug though. So I just give it to AI and say, oh, hey, this is really bad. Just go ahead and fix it. And AI does all the work. Okay. The only thing is I have to be in agent mode to make this change. So I was not in agent mode. I don't know why it keeps changing this. I should have been in agent mode, but let's see. Hope it's making changes. If not, I'll just ask it to apply. Okay. I'll just say apply changes, and it will apply all the changes to my code base, and it will look right. It will look nice. Yeah, little bit of help from AI or Copilot, and then you will have a nice looking UI at the end. And let me know, like, whatever which AI agent you are using. With what you are using, are you using Cloud or something else?
Oh, so I let the different agents play against each other. So if I do anything with Codex, I run it through Cloud Code. If I do anything with Cloud Code, I run it through Codex. The other day, I was making a PPT and I generated the content with Gemini, let Codex generate the first PPT, and then let Cloud Code do the final, like touch points, and they get it together. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using, I think, Google, sorry, GitHub Copilot for so long. I like it, kind of. I mean,
I think
uh,
I love Copilot as part of my workflow where if I want to fix something small and like do some like quick changes. But otherwise, if let's say I'm doing something big, I let it pass through at least two different agents.
interesting. Like, so you don't trust agents?
I think I established that I'm paranoid as it is, and I make sure that the agents know so that like I'm not
Uh,
trusting you.
Good, good. That's how you do it. So okay, so now we have like nice looking UI. There is card actually looks like a card, and which is also you can see it's responsive. Yeah. So if I move to different sizes, it will just adjust based on my screen size, and also buttons looks actually like a tab, so I can uh, shuffle or maybe toggle between all of them. And okay, this is the feature I never asked for, but AI. Now we have book now button. I think it was not available earlier, but just AI decided, okay, we need a book now button. Yeah.
Oh, the book now button. We had the delete button. We did have three different buttons though, Santosh. Remember when you were trying the
And
delete,
yeah,
add, and edit? I think.
yeah,
So we did have buttons.
yeah, but it was not book now, I think. But now we do have a book now, anyways.
And it's so pretty. It's like
Yeah.
like so pretty.
So yeah, I was like, where I don't have a mobile phone here. Okay, so now what we can do is, of course, now we have a nice hotel card component, and we can see our consoles and maybe clean up a little bit, and then raise this PR, and we'll be done for day. And when we come next time, when we are back, we will try to see how you do the same stuff, but not using subscribe method, right? Or not using the observables, but using signals. So because there are new APIs which are available with Angular 20, Angular 20 probably, and now you can just go ahead and use them, which are more signal based to get your data. So these are important. I mean, generally, when you learn programming, of course, one thing which you should not care about is warning. But in case this is a production app or production level app, also check the warnings because they are very important. I also make mistakes. Of course, other day I was making some changes on my app, and I thought, oh, there is a warning, and I was like, okay, just ignore this warning. Maybe I can just come back to it later on. And actually, it was the warning was introducing a bug. I mean, it was not like a bug which will affect my end user, but it was actually affecting the feature I made. So just to give you a small idea, like what I was doing, I was lazy loading some of the routes which we have in our app, and there was a warning. What happened was there was one interface. I will just tell you like the exact scenario which happened. So right now this interface exists in this file. So, but it was in our case, it was like there was an interface here. Okay, export interface, blah blah blah, whatever it is. So I'll say, okay, this is blah blah. This is my interface, and it exists in this file. And then this blah blah interface is actually being, let's say, used in root of my app. So it's, let's say, if it was getting used in app.ts here. Mhm. Name, yes, type of, so something like this. And then I was trying to lazy load the component, which one, the hotel card component, and build never failed. Build was green, but there was a warning. The warning said I compiler won't be able to create a lazy loaded model for this, or maybe lazy loaded chunk for this particular component, because you have some data which is being imported, or some interface which is being imported from here, and it is getting loaded globally, which is causing this optimization to fail. And this was actually a warning, and I was like, okay, uh, all good. I mean, yeah, let's merge the PR. And then after 2 days, I realized, oh, wait, what is this? When I tried to see like if the bundles are optimized or not, I found like, oh, this looks like a bug. I made some changes to like lazy load this route, but this chunk is not available in my final bundle. Like, why? It's actually still in part of my main bundle, and this was the issue. So read your warnings carefully, friends. Maybe you can avoid such errors in future. So I'll just remove this for now. Just this was just to show you, and I can look at all the warnings and fix them. So I'll go back to app.ts, and I can also use this, and I'll say, okay, remove unused import declaration, remove import, and it is saying like you're using this components, but actually they're not used. I can also remove them, and then I can clean my code base, and I can also, yeah. So everything is removed. Now there shouldn't be any warnings, and all good. So we don't have any warning. We have data. We have nice looking UI with a hotel list, and we will continue expanding on this. So now at the end, we wanted to build an app. So we will go ahead and add more features. We'll also add an agentic AI where you can probably just chat and say, hey, book, find me a room, and give me, it's like something with maybe $200 per night in my budget, and it gives you all the list by just chatting. So, and Hitvi is going to build that, by the way.
Oh, nice. Good to know.
Yeah.
Cloud Coach and Codex, I'll keep them ready.
Cool. So we will be back. At, so this what is today, 12th, right? So we'll be back on the stream next week, but we might miss the week after because I'll be at KubeCon. So I'm attending KubeCon, and I'll be busy at the event. So I'll then I'll see you in April, back in April. So
Yay! Very, very exciting, y'all. So much fun. I'm very excited to build this out completely.
and we made a good progress. I think at least we have a nice looking UI, and let's do. Uh, One thing is actually I just add okay, to card component and okay, push. Mhm. Where is my terminal? Okay, so we push the changes on the same PR, so you don't have to look at another thing, and we can end the stream now. So everyone,
Thank you, Sunny. It's very exciting for us too.
hey Sunny,
But cool, folks. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
bye.